we need to install that Jewelcraft add-on, and the way to do that is to go to Edit and Preferences, and you need to look for the tab that says Addons, and we need to click where it says Install an Add-on. And now it depends on your system where exactly you have downloaded this file to, but I'm going to go to my downloads page. That's where it should be on my system. And you need to select the add-on that says Jewelcraft. Now the numbers on yours might be slightly different from this. Depends which version you install, but I'm going to install this Jewelcraft version here. So install the add-on. Now you just need to wait a little bit of time for that to set up. Now on my system it seems to have done it twice. Don't worry about that. You should only get it once. I'm not sure why it's done that on my machine. Some bug in the system, probably because I've installed it before. But very important that you tick this box here to enable it. Very important that you do that. And then if you click to display information on the left, this panel opens up here. Now this is quite important, so don't close Blender Preferences down just at the moment, because we want to install an asset manager. But before we do that, if you go back to the Fluid Designer download page again, you need to also, or the next thing you need to download is the Fluid Designer assets. So when you click on that link, you'll download a file to your system, and this will be quite a big file, and it'll take quite a few minutes to download it because it's about 160 gigabits of data. And these are essentially Blender files and some PNG icons for installing a load of assets onto your machine. So you need to download that. Now obviously I have downloaded it previously, and it should download to your download page. Again, it will vary a little bit depending upon what operating system that you're using. But what I suggest you do is wherever it's downloaded, and you can see it's quite a large file, so it would have taken you several minutes to download that. Highlight it, copy it to the clipboard, or you can just drag and drop it, and go to your Documents folder and paste it. So you could just drag and drop it. I'm just going to replace it. It won't take too long on my system to do that. All right, so you need to copy that, and I recommend copying it to your Documents folder. Now this is just a zipped file, and what you need to do is to double click on it and extract all of the files and folders in this system. Now as you can see, there are a lot of folders to unzip. A lot of them are called patterns. And so what you need to do is to extract them all. And what I suggest you do is make sure that it says here Fluid Designer for 3D printing. So this is a folder that will be created on your system. And I say I'm unzipping it in the Documents folder. And I'm not actually going to extract that in this case because it takes quite some time. But you'll need to do that on your system. So I'm just going to cancel it. And if I just go to my Documents folder now, actually let me just, I need to switch that one down because that's actually really the extract window. Is it going to let me? No, it's not. Okay. I'll just go to the Documents folder. When you unzip this, you should get a folder like this, Fluid Designer for 3D printing. And I'll just open it up on my panel on the left here. So Fluid Designer for 3D printing should be the name of the folder. And when you unzip it on your system, you should have a load of folders, many of which are called patterns. And there should be some 3D template folders as well, and some jewellery folders. And there should be just one folder that's called meshes. So you'll have a main folder and then a load of subfolders. And these are the Fluid Designer assets. Now, once you've got all that unzipped, and it will take you some time, if you go back to Blender, and, oops, let me open up Blender itself, and if you go back to the Blender Preferences window, okay, you should have the object Jewelcraft ticked and opened up, and there is an icon here for Asset Manager and Waiting. We need the Asset Manager preferences selected, And we need now to make a link between Jewelcraft and that unzipped folder there with the Fluid Designer assets. And so the way to do that is to click on plus, and it will say untitled. So we're trying to link to this asset library. And what you need to do is to double click on the folder here, double click on the folder, and you need to browse to wherever you've put on your system that Fluid Designer folder. So in mine it's under Documents, and double click on Fluid Designer. So you should then get all of these patterns, and you should get these jewelry folders and just one mesh folder and some templates. And so what you need to do is to accept that. So we're creating a link here between Jewelcraft and the Fluid Designer assets. Now once you've done that, you can actually close down the Blender Preferences panel. And now what we need to do is to see, what have we done here? Well, if I hit the N key on the keyboard, over here on the panel, it should now say Jewelcraft. And if I click on Jewelcraft and click on Assets, these are the files, these are the ones that you've just unzipped. These are the Fluid Designer assets. And if you click here, you should be able to see all the patterns, the jewelry folders, and the one mesh folder. And what these should all contain different assets. So if you click on any one of these, that's not a good one to choose. Let me choose one that's, I know, let's choose the animal one. Okay, so you can change to various folders, and all of these objects can be placed automatically on the screen. So it's a library of different objects which you can use for jewelry design. Now if I just press the N key on the keyboard to close that panel down again now. Now we don't actually need to go to File and Default and save the startup file here. It wouldn't do any harm to do that, but we don't need to do it when we add an add-on like that. All right, but what we now need to do is to add some other things to our system for using on this course. So if you go back to the internet again and go back to fluiddesigner.co.uk/download. So we've installed Blender, installed Jewelcraft, installed and unzipped the Fluid Designer assets. Now the next thing we need to do is to install what's called PyClone. Now this is also an asset manager, but it enables me to see all of the assets, and it enables me to see them in a slightly different way. Now if you click on that link there, PyClone add-on from Creative Designer, it'll just take you to this screen here, and you can read about and you can watch videos about PyClone and how to install it from that screen. Well, I'm just going to close that down, and oops. So that first link there is just to a video and information to read. What you do need to do, however, is to download PyClone. So you need to click on this link here, and we also need to download the Toybox add-on. And it's very important here that we install PyClone first and the Toybox add-on second. And so after you've downloaded those, if you go back to Blender, so to install add-ons, it's a little bit like installing the Jewelcraft add-on. You need to go to Edit and Preferences, click on Add-ons, and we don't need Jewelcraft open anymore. So we need to go to Install an add-on, and go to wherever you've downloaded that one, and I've downloaded it to my download page here. And make sure you install PyClone first before the library Toybox one. So if you go to PyClone, highlight that and install the add-on. And you just need to wait for it to install it. And then make sure that you enable it by ticking the little box there. So we've got the Asset Manager PyClone there. Now we might as well install the Toybox one as well. So if we click Install and you want Library Toybox Master Zip, and install that add-on. And we also need to enable this, because these two are sort of linked to each other. So once we've got those two enabled, you can close down Blender Preferences.